Hi, welcome to our presentation of Chapter 4, The Third Way, the Continual Process of Learning and Experimentation. And our group members are Jacob, Kristina, and Rafael. It's important to create a culture of continual learning. In a technology value stream, enabling organizational learning and safety culture is essential to creating a high-trust culture of lifelong learners who are willing to take risks. High-performing operations require and actively promote learning, and their system of work is dynamic rather than rigidly defined. In many work cultures, there's a culture of fear and low trust. Workers who make mistakes are punished. But when you remove blame, you also remove fear. And by removing fear, you enable honesty, and honesty enables prevention. Organizations that become skilled at this are great at detecting problems and solving them. There are three types of organizations: pathological, bureaucratic, and generative. A pathological organization is characterized by fear and threat. People often hoard information or distort it to make themselves look better, and failure is often hidden. In a bureaucratic organization, rules and processes are what characterize it, and they help individual departments maintain their turf, and failure results in judgment and punishment, or a justice and mercy type scenario. In a generative organization, it's characterized by seeking and sharing, and the people actively seek and share information to enable the organization to achieve its mission, and failure results in reflection and inquiry. This is ideal. This is what we want. So, and then it's important to institutionalize the improvement of daily work, because processes don't stay the same over time. They need to be reevaluated and improved. And time should be reserved daily to improve this work, but another way to do this is with a Kaizen blitz. So this is periods of time that are reserved in each development cycle for engineers to self-organize into teams and to find and work on problems, any problem that they want. And this also helps to be able to respond to weaker failure signals, so you're not just waiting for disasters and fighting fires. You're being proactive and identifying opportunities for process and product improvements, and this gets those pockets of ignorance and helps them to be converted into nuggets of knowledge, which leads into our next topic about local discoveries, which Rafael is going to cover.
Okay, once the company have learned and grow with all this experience with failure, one thing that they need to do is transform local discoveries into global improvements. So basically, when new learnings are discovered locally, there must be also a mechanism to enable the rest of the organization to use and benefit from that knowledge. So create mechanisms to help convert individual expertise into artifacts that will the rest of the organization can use. So basically, a good example of this is the naval reactors. They are known for their intense commitment to scripted procedures and standardized work. So for incidents and reports. So this help them to accumulate learnings, and then they can do this in other units, and they can help other workers to do the same kind of improvements. Another thing that it is inject resilience patterns into your daily work. So resilience means the capacity to prepare for disruptions, recover from shocks and stress, and adapt and grow from a disruptive experience. So high performers achieve the same results or better by improving daily operations, continually introducing tension to elevate performance, as well as engineering more resilience into their system. So basically, if you inject different scenarios or situations in the work, that has helped people to be more acquainted with changes in the environment. A good example of this is the CIT Global Matrix Factory. So what they do is they had 2 production lines, each capable of producing 100 units per day. On slow days, they would send all productions into one line, experimenting with ways to increase capacity and identify vulnerabilities in their process, knowing that if overloading the line causes it to fail, they could send all productions to the second line. So this would help them to create a different scenario, and with that, the workers would be more acquainted if something in their environment would need to change in the real life. And that leads to the next subject talked by Jacob.
All right, perfect. So what I'm going to be covering is that leaders reinforce a learning culture. And something that I feel really helps lead into that is the fifth principle of the Agile Manifesto, which states that you want to build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. So when you're reinforcing a learning culture, in traditional work environments, leaders are typically responsible for setting the objective, establishing resources, and giving the incentive. They also set an emotional and a cultural tone. So depending on how well they set that cultural tone is really going to affect the group's work and as well as the culture in the company. It's also known that leaders make all the right decisions, and that is just kind of something that is a standard throughout the industry. It is a leader's responsibility to help his team learn and create a safe environment where they can learn. That is key. It's important to let your team know that mistakes are okay and that they can learn from them and they're not going to be punished for their mistakes. A leader strives to help them learn from their mistakes to get better. A leader should be a teacher as well as a guide. You should always feel safe approaching a leader with any kind of questions or any sort of guidance that you might need. So here are some sample leadership coaching questions that were in chapter 4. The first one is, what was the last step you took and what happened? What did you learn from that last step? What is your current condition? How are you feeling? What is your next target condition? What are the obstacles you are currently working on? What is your next step? What is your expected outcome? And when can we check on that? So in conclusion of this chapter, something that you can take away is that the principles of the third way address the needs for value of organizational learning, enabling this trust and boundary spanning between functions. Accepting failures will always occur in a complex system, and making it acceptable to talk about problems to help ensure a safe system of work. It also requires institutionalizing the improvement of daily work, converting local learning into global learning for the entire organization, as well as injecting tension into daily work. As we like to put it, create some chaos. The results are not only better performance, but also increased resilience, higher job satisfaction, and improved organizational adaptability. Thank you for viewing. That was our presentation. Have a great week.